welcome to Yoga Flow. Today's practice is going to have a little bit of focus on your low back, your hamstrings, maybe some hips and some shoulders. It's going to get you a nice all over good stretch with some flowing movement today as well. So just go ahead and rest here on your back. Let things be nice and calm, nice and easy. Today's opening intention is called redesign your senses. When you bring your mind to balance, you start to hear, see, and feel clearly. You are reclaiming agency over your life. Redesign your senses. When you bring your mind to balance, let's just try to focus on that today, balance. The balancing of our breath, letting it be nice and easy, even on the inhale. Slow flowing on your exhale. Dropping those shoulders down from your ears, letting your arms stretch out comfortably to the sides. Maybe your palms are flipped towards the ceiling, or maybe they're flat to the earth, whichever you prefer. And the breath starts to deepen. Gentle wiggling of the fingers, maybe wiggling of the toes. Maybe if your legs are long, you even plant the heels on the earth and let your toes kind of sway a little bit right and left. Just a subtle hip opener. You'll feel it through the hip flexors, outer edges of the hips, maybe even into your low back. And then you're going to take that same kind of sweeping side-to-side motion and start to bend the knees. And then let your knees do a similar method. So kind of right and left. And then right and left. Just take your time. Arms reach out to T if they haven't already. Next time your knees are to the right, go ahead and let them stay there for a moment. Just a gentle spinal twist to open up the side body today. Gaze might be up towards the ceiling, or you might turn your head, gaze over to the side. Knees start to come back up towards center, and then maybe they go the other way. Take your time, knees start to go back up towards sky, and then we pull them in towards the chest. Just in a nice tight ball. Give an opportunity to kind of wiggle around your toes, curl them, roll them, maybe do the same thing with your ankles. Knees can be hugged in nice and tight, or you might choose to bring your hands just to the tops of those kneecaps. Next natural inhale, stretch the arms high up overhead. Let them rest on the earth as you extend your legs towards the ceiling. You start to look like a capital L shape. Exhale, breath, bend the knees, let the hands kind of slide forward, point up your mat on either sides of the hips. Just a couple inhales and exhales going back and forth between that L shape and your bent knees. You're going to feel a little warmth in the core. A little strength out through fingertips and toes. Again, a little warmth in the core as you extend. Last round. Next time your knees are bent, go ahead and keep them there. Cross your right ankle over top of your left. So just at the ankles and hug the knees in. Then switch it up. Put your left ankle over on top of your right, and then rock around a little bit, side to side, hug it in close. Now take your right leg and crisscross as high as you can up towards the knees. So kind of an eagle leg or a cow face. Start to feel a little opener through the glutes, piriformis, outer hip. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side. You might be holding on to about your shins, or maybe on the backs of the thighs. All right, switch up your legs. Opposite leg goes on top. Again, a little cow face shape or eagle legs. Rocking it a little bit right and left. Start to feel good, stretch in the glutes, outer hip. Perfect, uncross from that. Let the legs extend long, arms go up overhead, make that letter L one more time. This time as you exhale, instead of bending our knees, our hands are just going to start to stretch and reach up towards your toes. Head might come up off the earth. Exhale, go back to that L shape. So take your time. Maybe it's an exhale on the way up, an inhale on the way down, or vice versa. Just focusing on that low back, seeing if we can keep it glued into the floor. If it starts to ache, you might need a little bend in your knees, especially if the abdominal strength isn't quite what you'd like and your back is taking over, which happens to me very often. So if you need to bend those knees, feel free. Give yourself one more round. And then just soften everything. Knees bend, arms bend. Rock around on that spine. And we're going to come to seat. So you can roll to one side and push in the ground, or you can kind of rock and roll up your mat until you find your seat. Hands stretch out to the sides, eyes closed. Let your neck just move around here a little bit as you find a nice tall spine through your seat. Full breath. Once you've had a chance to just let your neck do a little talking, we'll bring the hands to the fronts of the knees and initiate a little flexion breathing. So when you inhale, your chest comes through the middle, chin might lift. Exhale breath, you might find your back rounding. See if you can do a couple more of these with your eyes closed. Just really focusing on the simple movement of pulling the chest through and then giving that back a slight arch. One more at your own pace. Take your time. Spine comes tall. Inhale, breath reaches hands up tall. Exhale, take it out to cactus. Inhale, reach it tall. Out to cactus. Last one, inhale, reach it tall. This time as you hit cactus, pause there. Bring the elbows in front of your face, and then right arm's going to go underneath left, and we start building eagle arms. Set those shoulders back in the sockets where they belong. Gaze is gentle out through the fingers or through your wrists. Even if you're in a big crisscross or you're kind of hugging at the shoulders, whatever version works for you. One more breath. Big exhale, reach the hands in a full circle up. And then down towards the earth, right ear moves towards right shoulder. Head comes back up over spine, left ear towards left shoulder. Inhale, breath, hands reach up. Exhale, breath, cactus shape. Elbows in front of the face. This time, left arm goes underneath. Same eagle shape you were looking for before. So set those shoulders back in the sockets where they belong. Continue to twist through the hands until you feel that stopping point. And anytime if you start to feel your shoulders pulling forward out of those sockets, you've probably gone too far. You might need to untwist a little bit. Give yourself another round of breath. Big exhale, full circle just as you did before, and then let your neck do a little talking here again. Let it be in charge. Get rid of that tension we all hold on to in the upper back and the neck. Head comes back to center. Good work. Let's go ahead and find tabletop. So take your knees to the ground. Wrists and hands are going to go right underneath those shoulders. If you need a blanket, you of course can look for that. Forgot to bring my blocks over here, so I'm going to grab my blocks, but it's always helpful to have those handy if you like to use blocks. I do. I like props. Wrists go underneath shoulders again. Knees are under those hips. Take a couple cat-cows. This resembles that same flexion breathing you just did seated. So you're letting the belly drop, and then you're letting your spine round. So you're just kind of taking your time here. A couple easy rounds. Last one. Next time you hit that cat spine, sit your hips on your heels, take your child's pose, walk hands all the way to the right edge of your mat, maybe even off onto the floor on that right side. Sit towards that left hip and let the spine stretch. Really get into that side body. You've reached to the right side of your mat. Maybe even take your right hand and let it reach back here towards the back of your mat, maybe towards your right foot. Beautiful. Hands come back together. Let them walk to the other side of the mat. Same stretch as before. You're off onto the left side. You're going to sit towards that right hip. Relax the head and shoulders. Left hand might even stretch back towards the back of the mat. Take your time. Perfect. Hands move back towards the front of the mat, moving to the center. Beautiful. Tabletop. Right hand extends long out in front, left leg goes behind. Balancing table. Give yourself just a couple breaths here. Make sure that spine stays nice and long, fingertips stretching out in front. Exhale, breath. Knee and elbow look for one another. And then take it back long. Inhale, long body. Exhale, bring those two to make connection. Take your time, long body. And then back to a tap. Long body. Back to together. Beautiful. Last one. Perfect. Reach out and hold. Fingertips straight out in front, toes behind. Hold that balance. Hand comes down and looks for earth, back leg. Take those toes down to the ground. Push through that heel. Get a nice stretch for the calf. Of course, you can curl toes under on both feet. Lift the hips a little bit and get your first little half down dog. That might feel nice. Whatever version of this works for you. All right, beautiful. Drop both knees back to earth. Switch sides, opposite knees on the ground this time. Right leg extends, left arm straight out. Take that same balancing table again. Hold for a couple breaths. Check your alignment. Make sure the hand that's on the earth feels supported. Not too much pressure down into that wrist. You're lifting up out of that hand. You're cinching in those abdominals. And then you have a little dynamic movement again. Elbow and knee. And then back out long. Of course, remembering if at any point in time that becomes too much, hands can always go to the earth, and you can just function with your lower body, maybe not reaching both out and away from the core. Balance looks really good in here. Last one. Hands come down to earth, toes curl under. Give that big calf stretch again like you did before. Staying right there or giving yourself a little half down dog if that shape feels better to you. Perfect. Knees drop back to earth. Go ahead and sit on heels. Child's pose. Stretch the arms long out in front. Hips sit back. Let the spine feel nice and long. Easy breath. Perfect. We'll bring ourselves up and start looking for your first downward facing dog of today's practice. So toes curl under, hips lift up. Downward facing dog, walk it out. Putting a little weight in the right foot, a little weight in the left. Hands are shoulder distance apart, fingers are nice and wide, hips are lifted up, maybe even knees bend as we flatten out that spine. And then we're going to take small steps with the feet, start walking them forward towards your hands. Hang in a forward fold. And then come up halfway. Inhale, breath along the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands as high as they can go. Gaze up at the ceiling. Exhale out, find cactus. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. So just a couple half sun salutations. Blocks can come in here if you want them. Halfway up on the breath. Exhale, fold. All the way back up, strong breath. Take the cactus out when you're ready. Let's go again, up and down. Halfway up and down. All the way up. Cactus shape. All the way up. Exhale down. This time pause here. Find a half lift. Hold the spine long and a little L again. And just breathe here. See what layers can peel away on the backs of the legs. What's going on in your hamstrings. You might need to bend the knees a little bit. Trying to flatten out that spine. One more breath. Next natural exhale that comes, hands collapse down to earth, right foot steps back, right knee drops down into the ground, and then your hands are gonna both sweep up towards the sky. Inhale it up, exhale, look for cactus. You're just gonna take 2 more of those. So decide what angle feels best in this front knee. It might be deep or softer. Last one. Hold the cactus, arms come in front of the face. Now, whatever knee you have towards the front of your mat, I want you to take that same arm and put it underneath the other to make eagle arms. Hold for a breath. Big exhale. Arms are going to full circle, just like we did before. This time, maybe they go backwards. Look for the earth. Curl those toes under. Lift that back knee. Hold that runner's lunge. Give me a breath. Big inhale here. Exhale out. Hands plant. Front foot steps back. Downward facing dog. Walk it out. Take your time. Turning on a little bit of upper body strength. You are going to shift 3 times with your breath from a down dog to a plank. So you're going to inhale, shift your hips slightly forward, shoulders and wrists in a line, plank pose. Exhale, lift your hips up, put them back at down dog. Exhale. Inhale to your plank. Exhale to your down dog. Last one, inhale to your plank. Exhale to your down dog. Small steps with your feet, take your time, walk them forward towards your hands. Find the half lift when the spine feels ready again. Exhale, fold. Hands reach up, look for the sky, big breath. Take it out to cactus. And then just bring it into your heart, close the eyes, grab 3 grounding breaths. So I want your spine nice and tall. See what length you can get out of yourself. Lift those knees, relax the shoulders down from ears. Feel that balance between right and left foot, between grounding in through the feet and lifting up through the head. Lots of balancing forces happening here. Big breath takes our hands overhead. Exhale, go ahead and fold. Find that half lift just as you did before and freeze. Hold there. Let the back sides of those legs have a little bit more time to open. If you have blocks handy, feel free to reach for those. Maybe they go underneath your hands, one or both. The back sides of the legs again are getting some space to open. These look good. Okay, so if the chin is down towards the chest like a necklace, pull it away. Think about if you were a princess or a king or a queen and you've got something resting on your head. It would be pointing straight forward towards the front of your mat, not down at the floor. Beautiful. Big exhale, fold. Step the left foot back this time. Left knee drops down into the ground. Take your time to sweep the hands up. And then you have 3 cactus, just like you did before. So your own pattern of breath when you're ready. Those hands float up and down, but take your time. And then we'll take those eagle arms after this 3rd round. So we'll bring the elbows in front of us. Whatever knee is towards the front, ideally that's the arm that's gonna go underneath. But just like always, these are always just cues. If something doesn't sit well with you, you certainly don't have to take yourself through it. You can skip it. Good work. Big exhale takes the arms in that circular motion, just as you did before. Toes will curl under. We're gonna start to feel strong and powerful through our legs, lifting that knee up off the earth. Push through that back leg. Maybe put a little smile on your face as you feel a little stronger on this leg, perhaps. Maybe not. Or you just laugh at yourself. That's a good way to smile too, right? Doesn't always have to be so serious. All right, my friends, front foot's gonna step back to the back of your mat. Now you know what's coming, that plank and down dog. If that was really challenging for you last time, maybe you wanna reach for a blanket or just put your knees down on the ground. You can rotate back and forth between kind of a plank on your knees and a child's pose or a puppy pose. That's a nice modification. Otherwise, give me 3 more of those. See if you can shift your hips, shift your weight. Feel strong in that plank, and then lift it back up. You got it. So taking 2 very basic yoga poses, tying them together with our breath to find a little strength. So keep floating, use your breath. Maybe the inhale takes you to plank, and the exhale takes you to down dog. Beautiful. Once you finish your next round there, once you got that 3rd one in, if you did a bonus one, that's fine too. Start to walk your hands towards your feet this time, so backwards. Now that we're getting tired. Or either way, you can go hands to feet, feet to hands, whatever. Half lift. Exhale, fold. That Tadasana or mountain pose is waiting for you, so go ahead and find it. Bring your hands down. Let them rest at the heart. And be really conscious of that word balance again. Thinking about keeping our right and left foot equally rooted into the earth. Shoulders from ears. Check in real quick with the pelvis. Make sure we're not sticking our tail out behind us. See if we can keep that nice and centered. Maybe even thinking about the hips and the pelvis is kind of like a soup bowl. And if it's tipped forward, we're gonna spill it down the front of us. If it's tipped backwards, as we have it too tucked underneath us, we're gonna spill it down the back. So we wanna see if we can keep it nice and centered. One more easy round of breath. Nice work. Right foot becomes your standing foot. Left foot becomes your lifted toes for just a basic tree. So right foot is your standing, left is slightly turned outward. Maybe you move from a toe tap to an inner calf. Maybe you reach down and give it a little more lift and you bring it to an inner thigh. You, of course, can leave your mat and turn, grab a wall if you want a little extra space. But just find something to put your eyes on that's not moving. Hands can be at heart or above head or out to side. Knee that's been lifted, go ahead and start to turn it to the front. Just give it a little kick it away. Roll the ankle, and then slide it back down next to your standing leg. Take one half sun salutation. So arms go up on your inhale, exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Those hamstrings open, exhale, fold. Keep the chin away from your chest. Inhale, reach all the way back up. Out in cactus. Hands to heart, eyes closed. Think about that pelvis again, centering. Keeping shoulders down from ears. Balance between right and left foot is grounded equally. Now what's funny, as soon as we say balance between right and left foot is equal, you're gonna find about 1,000 tiny movements happening from the right to the left, to the right to the left, to the right to the left, as we try to keep both feet equal. All right, go ahead, put the opposite leg hard into the ground this time. So left leg becomes your standing leg, right toes maybe turn slightly outward. You can always stay in a kickstand. You can come slightly up to inner calf. Maybe you go to inner thigh or even half lotus if that's your practice. You certainly can reach for a chair for those of you at home or a couch. You can look for a wall. So remembering the only cue we really want to avoid is putting this foot right on the inside of that kneecap. So it either needs to decide to go slightly below the knee or it can come up above, but we don't want to put it right on that inside kneecap. Again, see what you can do with that gaze. Find something not moving. Knee that's been lifted is going to turn towards the front. Give it a little kick. You can roll those toes and ankles around again. Swing the foot back, half sun salutation. Big lift, inhale, breath. Sweep it down. Keep that back nice and flat. Chin away from your chest. Good. Half lift. Keep the chin away from chest. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet. Big inhale. Reach hands up. Look up. Exhale, cactus, and pause. Elbows come in front of your face. Right arm is going to go underneath the left. Build those eagle arms again. Since our right arm is the one that went underneath, we're going to take our right foot, lift it, and crisscross over that left knee. Now you can stay right here, a little toe tap. You can put this foot on a block if it wants. You can move yourself closer to a wall. Just put your hip right on the wall if you want. You can sink deeper. You can wrap this foot. You can wrap the hands. There's all kinds of ways we can make this a little more or a little less. And another round of breath in your traditional eagle pose today, friends. Spine is long. Big breath. Unwind. Make yourself look like a letter X. So feet kind of separate out on your mat. Arms get wide. Right foot plants into the ground. And you're just going to inhale. Plant that right foot. Lift your left toes. Big letter X. One more breath. Bring that lifted foot down, put it on the edge of your mat, and then collapse into a ragdoll. Head gets to hang heavy. Let it sway side to side. Maybe bend the knees a little deeper. Now this time, if your chin wants to hang towards your chest, it can. You don't have to keep it completely away from your chest like we do usually in our half lifts. All right, my friends, start to bring yourself back up. Now, some are gonna like a half lift, some like to roll up like one vertebra at a time. Whatever makes the most sense in your spine. Make sure it's an inhale breath though. All right, put yourself back in center of mat. Your opposite foot is going to do your balancing. So inhale, arms up, let them out to a cactus. Let them come in front of the face. This time the left arm goes underneath the right. And then the left foot lifts and comes on top of the other. Now, if you find this kind of a shaky, wobbly mess, try putting your toes slightly out in front of you and bend your knees a little deeper. Now, the first second you're gonna wobble, but give yourself that standing leg a moment to feel grounded. Then start to bring that foot in a little closer to you. Squeeze through your inner thighs, but relax through your quads and your seat. Remember, you got a wall if you want it. See what's happening with that low back. Try to flatten it out. Give yourself another round of breath. This is a big shape, so your shape doesn't have to look like mine. Doesn't have to look like your neighbor or even that picture you have in your head. It's just yoga. Big stretch wide when you feel finished. Arms and legs come undone. Put yourself back in that X shape. Kind of walk your feet out a little bit. And then we know we're going to put balance into this left foot this time. Lift our right toes up off the earth. And take that big X shape. Hold. Hold. And then swing it back down, ragdoll pose. Now, if ragdoll wants to be a little more active, you can certainly reach hands down towards the big toes, maybe peace signs, go between second and first toe. You get a little more stretch for the back sides of the legs. If when I said at the beginning of today's class, we're gonna work on some hamstrings, focus on hamstrings, if that made you feel happy, then you're gonna wanna take this big toe pose. If low back made you happy, the idea of working on your low back, you're gonna probably wanna be in ragdoll. There's always ways to take what we're doing and make it work for you and your needs. Last big breath. Perfect. You're going to take your hands to the earth now, a big bend in the knees, and start to bear walk those hands back up towards the front of the mat. So you might have to walk your feet in just a little bit closer to one another. And then walk till you get to what looks like down dog. Hips are lifted, feet are probably hip distance apart. Hands are shoulder distance, fingers are spread wide. Give me one more shift from down dog to plank and hold the plank. Knees can drop to earth at any time they may need to. Think about a little pin or a little string right in between your shoulder blades. Pull that just slightly up towards the ceiling and then push your heels slightly back towards the wall behind you. Get your chin away from your chest. Look out about 3 or 4 inches out in front. Feel the shake. And then soften the knees one at a time. Let them drop to the mat. Elbows start to lower. You're all the way to your belly. Yes. All right, hands on either sides of the heart. Give me 3 cobras. So just take your time. Push the pelvis into the earth. Just a little lift. Nothing big. And then relax it back down. So not a lot of strength happening from the arms. You should feel power in your lower extremities, as well as a little bit of engagement through the back muscles. But nothing should feel like cramped or tight in terms of pinching in the low back. Last one, if you haven't hit your 3, And then soften everything to earth. Hands are going to walk around front. Give yourself a little reverse savasana as you have a pillow for your forehead to rest. If you built any tension in your forehead or you're just noticing it, knowing it's there, go ahead and massage it out. Right knee bend, see if you can reach back with your right hand. If that's comfortable to you, you can grab on the top of that right foot, hug the right heel down towards your glute, take a nice stretch here for your quad. Softening that foot back down to earth. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Opposite arm maybe serves as pillow. Reach hand back. Grab at the top of that foot, pulling the heel down towards the glute. Maybe the head relaxes and stays on earth. Some of you are a little more active with heads lifted last time. If that feels good to repeat on this side, feel free. Taking your time coming out of that shape, moving hands around front. Stretch them long and straight out in front, toes pointing back behind. Pushing the palms of the hands into the earth. You're going to lift through the toes up off the ground. Your head might be slightly lifted, but go ahead and just keep those arms down if that feels okay to you. Elbows can lift, but you might push a little bit through those fingers and hands. Go ahead and relax the breath and settle those feet back down. You can take a full body Superman if you'd like, lifting hands and feet up off the ground on your next round of breath. Or you can repeat what you just did. Little pressure through the hands, balancing on the pelvis, lifting the toes, pointing strong through those feet. This is steady breath. Don't hold your breath. Beautiful strength. Take your time and bring it back down. Maybe you give yourself that reverse savasana pillow again. Perhaps you bend your knees and flex your feet and just let them kind of sway a little bit right and left. Beautiful. Hands coming on either sides of the heart. We're going to work back up to our hands and knees. Take your time. I'm going to walk my hands down even with about my breastbone and pull my elbows in really close. Push to my knees to a strong half plank with the core engaged so I can protect my low back. And then I'm just going to sit back onto my heels, take a child's pose. It might feel nice to reach for a block to put underneath head or build yourself a little tower with your fists, one on top of the other to place your head on that. Again, any tension in the brow line, the forehead, let's go ahead and see if we can massage that out either into the mat or into your hands, a block. You might widen your knees, make more space for chest and belly to really kind of surrender, collapse, fall through the middle. Perfect. Next natural inhale. Just take your time. Start to bring yourself back up towards a tabletop. Wrists go under shoulders, knees are under hips. 3 cat-cows. Connecting breath once more with gentle movement. Starting to work our way back to where we started. And everything in reverse. Once you finish with that next round of cat-cow, just soften the spine. Start to maybe walk their knees towards your wrists and then crisscross it over those ankles or swing the legs around side, whatever it takes to get you to your seat. Legs will go long out in front. Walk the knees out a little bit if they need some space. Pull the kind of cushion out from underneath of you so that your sits bones can really connect with the earth. Right knee comes in towards the belly. Give it a hug. And then let it fall out to the side like you did your standing tree pose. So let this knee go over. If you need or would like a block right underneath the outside edge of that knee, that might feel nice. Take your chest lifted, thinking about thigh coming back into the body as the belly lifts up and over it, and we offer our hands towards this foot. Big stretch up the back side of that leg. Spine is long. Remember, your chin is not a necklace, so keep it away from the chest. Always thinking about that crown, trying to pull itself towards the front of your mat. Not necessarily your forehead, literally the top, the crown of your head. Inhale, chest comes back up, beautiful work. Take this knee that's been out to the side, stand it up. Maybe it even wants to step over and add a little twist. You'll turn your chest towards that bent knee. Untwisting, taking maybe an arm just around the back edge of that knee, lift it up. It might feel good to kind of rock the baby just a moment, not too long today. And then depending on your flexibility, this leg can go long. Maybe you hold for a stretch, or you just kind of start to ease that leg down. Opposite knee coming in, giving it a big hug. And then setting yourself for that same tree shape, knee falling out to the side. Maybe you block it up again if you liked that. Make sure, get your cushions out from underneath. You really want to feel the bones connected to the earth. Back, up, and over. That's always kind of what we're thinking. Keep this leg connected, keep the chest lifted, and we're trying to lift up and over something invisible. Anytime you fold forward, that's going to help get just a little bit more out of the shape and help protect the lowest part of your spine. Starting to bring the chest back up. We'll welcome this knee. It's been out to the side. Maybe it steps over. We take that same twist. Bring towards the bent knee. Spine is tall. Unwinding from the twist. Rocking the baby just for a moment. Maybe the elbow comes around or your hands just kind of grab onto this leg. Give it a little bit of space. Maybe you take a grab on the foot for more length. Or you grab just on the back edges of the thigh. And then start to slowly walk it down. Keep the chest and spine tall. Perfect. All right, my knees will bend. Join me if you would, about halfway down your mat. If you have blocks or any other props you want to take with you to the floor, go ahead, and we're back on our backs. Might feel nice to start with bent knees, maybe close in towards the belly or flat on the earth. I'm going to suggest about 2 or 3 poses here, and then I'm going to just leave the rest up to you. If you want to stop listening to me and just do your own thing, that's always welcome when you hit the back. Just remember, you're at the phase of practice where work should be less, and we're trying to find a state of relaxation. So just take a moment here to flatten your feet down into the earth. Walk the heels, if they aren't already, up a little closer to your glutes, and then start to kind of ground through all 4 points of the foot. We're going to take very small lift of the hips up off the ground. In fact, if I was to be standing next to you, I might not even notice, other than to slide a piece of paper or 2 underneath your back. And then I want you to soften that and just lay it back on the earth. So you're just doing very small lifts of the spine up off the ground, and then just lowering it back down. So small, in fact, those of you watching from home probably don't even notice that my back has left the earth. But it feels just like a gentle massage to the lowest part of my spine. Last one at your own pace. Lay it back into earth. Soles of the feet are going to find one another. Knees are going to fall out, but not all the way. And then bring them back to center. So you're just going to take this about 3 or 4 times, just gently letting those knees fall out and then stand them back up. Maybe your hands are less resting on the lowest part of your abdomen. Maybe they're resting on your heart or out on the earth. Next time your knees open, go ahead and let them fall to whatever place feels most natural. Soles of the feet are touching. Your toes almost open like a book. So your pinky toes remain touching probably, while your big toes kind of splay out open to the sides. Knees following suit. Maybe right hand rests on the heart and the left hand rests across the belly. And you just breathe. Of course, if this bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana, does not work for you today, feel free to stand the knees up, walk the feet a little bit wider, and then let the knees collapse towards one another rather than away. You can also reach for blocks. Those of you in traditional bound angle, maybe the blocks go under the outer edges of those knees. Those of us resting in bound angle, if you'd like, hands might reach towards the outer edges of knees. Might stand them up to center, and then we'll take the counter pose I was walking you through before. Feet widen towards the outer edges of the mat, and then just let those knees collapse in and touch one another. Perhaps you even stretch your arms up overhead. Maybe they take a V shape, a Y shape, a T shape, or just straight and long up overhead. Start to gently walk those feet back towards the middle of the mat. And then bring the knees into the chest for one more good hug. Rocking right and left or circling those knees. As if you're trying to draw a little imaginary circle, tops of the kneecaps. And then just quiet everything. Feet start to come to the ground, and you decide how you're going to finish today's practice. Maybe it's back to bound angle. Maybe it's that constructive rest with knees bent, collapsing into one another. Maybe it's traditional Savasana with legs long down the mat, toes rolling towards the outer edges. Or if the spine just feels a little overworked today, maybe you just feel tired resting in this manner, perhaps you just roll and rest on your right or your left side. Listening to your own body, finding what it needs to feel calm, relaxed, and restored in these final few moments. This is the time we set aside for our body to reset, to find what it needs, to finally sift and let go. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing your inhales to deepen and your exhales. Use these final moments to redesign your senses. When your mind is brought into balance, you start to see, hear, and feel clearly. You are reclaiming agency over your life. Let gentle movements come in as you wiggle the fingers. Feel the sensations of the room as you sway your head back and forth on the hard earth beneath you. Bending your knees and walking your feet and knees a little closer to the chest, rocking side to side. Maybe gently blinking open the eyes, gazing up at the ceiling above before rolling yourself quietly and slowly to one side or the other, perhaps your right, elevating the heart, resting on your side in somewhat of a savasana on the side, just for a moment or two. Taking time to come back up to your seat when you feel ready. Hands into the heart. I greatly appreciate you making this time for yourself to move and breathe with all of us here, either in person or through the computer. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste.